Hi guys, my name's M13, and yep, the topic of this video is the real reason why you shouldn't do drugs. Because I've done a lot of drugs in my past. I've done hard drugs and I gotta move on. Yeah, I'm not gonna list them off, but I'll explain. One thing that's always annoyed me is when I see anti-drug campaigns and they're like just so full of shit. And they're so full of shit to the point that I would guess they actually inspire some people to do drugs. What I mean by that, what I mean is when the government comes out with some kind of billboard or whatever, and it's like, let's take ecstasy for example. When the government comes up with some kind of billboard and it's like, don't do ecstasy, ecstasy kills, ecstasy, blah 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 blah. People who do ecstasy or they have these psychotic trips and this and that. But anybody who just does, who has connection to the internet, who has known someone who's done ecstasy, can just talk to someone and find out. In actuality, it's one of the safest drugs you can do, and it's to have a bad trip on ecstasy is extremely rare. You got like a 1 in 10,000 chance of having a bad trip on it. It's like, so when the government starts saying all these bad points about a specific drug, and they just blow it out of proportion, they over-exaggerate it, you start to think to yourself, well, maybe the drug isn't like bad at all, since they're obviously lying through their teeth about it. Maybe I should try it, like it's so obvious that they're just blowing things way out of proportion. So it makes you doubt anything that they say on the topic. But there are some real facts. For example, with like cocaine and crystal meth, one interesting fact about those two amphetamines is the fact that something like 30% of all heart attacks under the age of 30 are related to one of those two drugs. So in other words, this is one of the performers at Leofu. She's like from Jamaica or something, Africa, and she's a dancer and performer at the amusement park nearby here. I've seen her dance. I'd offer a ride, but I don't have an extra helmet. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, something like yes. That's a kind of a scary one. It's like if you're 22 years old and you do amphetamines, like you're increasing your chance of having a heart attack by something like you're 1,000 times more likely or something insane like that. But that's not the reason. Here it is. This is the real reason why I would tell my son or someone else not to do drugs, because it's the real reason, and it's the reason why I quit. And the reason is that they make you feel too good. And what I mean by that is the high of some drugs, I'm not going to say which one specifically, is so high and so good that the problem isn't so much doing the drug. The problem is that, oh shit, you guys see that? Oh, poor guy. Let's go take a look at that. Oh, that's the guy on the side of the road there, poor guy. They're waiting for a tow truck. Sucks. I'm trying to think, man. You'd only need about 3 or 4 strong guys to get that one tire out. And you don't even have to lift the whole tire out. You just got to lift it out enough so that it can get some traction. Like you get one person in the truck backing it up, because it's probably front-wheel drive, right? And then you get 3 guys to lift up the one corner just enough so that the tire can start to touch the lip. And then if you're backing up, yeah, but the tire's jammed in there. The problem is he needs to turn the wheel to the right to be able to back out. And if it's jammed in there, he can't turn to the right, then he's kind of screwed. Anyways, the problem isn't so much doing the drugs, because, your chances of doing most drugs and actually dying are pretty slim. Addiction, of course, that's a problem. But even aside from that, let's say you do a drug and you don't die or have any physical side effect, and you don't get addicted. So what's the problem? No, nothing bad physically happens to you, and you don't get addicted. So why not do it? Because there's still a big, huge downside, and that is the drug will give you such a high or make you feel so good that everything else for years to come, possibly the rest of your life, will dull by comparison. In other words, when you do certain drugs, they make you feel so happy and so high and so just ecstatic. They make you feel pure ecstasy, and I'm not talking about ecstasy actually. I don't think ecstasy is that great of a drug. They make you feel so high. Oh, that's the racetrack. That's the racetrack I normally go to, and that's an ambulance leaving it with a siren on. Not a good sign. It's race day today at the racetrack. That's why I didn't go there. The high is so high that everything else you do loses its joy. Like, for example, before I ever did drugs, things like sex, dancing in front of a crowd, maybe going fast on my motorcycle, all these things would give me insane amounts of joy, right? Sex with a beautiful woman, it doesn't get better than that. Well, it does actually, and it's called hard drugs. And then once you've done hard drugs, when next time you're having sex with a beautiful woman, it's like, it's good, but it's not as good as the time I did this drug. Or the next time you're climbing a mountain and you reach the peak, you're like, this is good, but it's not as good as that time I was sitting in my living room doing this drug. Or the next time, you have a baby and you're like, and your wife hands you the baby, it's your child, we had a boy, and you're like, this is a nice moment, but I preferred that time I was in that guy's basement doing that drug, and it's just like, it ruins the rest of your life. That guy must be seriously hurt. Yeah, so you're really, if you do hard drugs, even once or twice, even if you just do it a couple of times, you're shooting yourself in the foot for the rest of your life. Because you're going to lower, it's not worth it to be happy 3 times if you're going to make yourself less happy for the rest of your life. I haven't done hard drugs in about, I don't know, let's say, for sake of argument, let's say about 7 years. I think I've done it once in those 7 years, but I didn't do it very much, and I didn't get much of an effect, so let's not count that. So other than the one time, it's been about 7 years since I've done hard drugs, since before my YouTube days. And that's an interesting car. What is that? It's like a Celica. And now we hit the traffic. Oh, fuck it. So, oh shit. Oh, he's turning off. Okay. So, yeah, so I did it 7 years ago, and even though last time I did it was 7 years ago, there are still times when I'm having fun or doing something cool, and I think to myself, I wish I was on this, or I wish I was on that, and it's like, it sucks. It sucks that for the rest of my life, I'll always know in the back of my mind that no matter how happy I am, I could probably be a little bit happier if I just had some kind of illegal substance in me. It's a shitty feeling, man. So yeah, I've already explained myself pretty fully, but these kids are fucking erratic. Fucking scooter punks. Like, I don't mind them riding quick, because I ride quick. I own the same scooter as they do. They're all riding Yamaha Cygnus, except but it's also a Yamaha. It's a Yamaha something else. Riding quick is fine, but be smooth, be predictable, don't fucking jerk it around. You young kids all like to jerk it. I know. Yeah. So, don't even. I'm telling you, don't even experiment. Don't even try it once, because once you try it once, you've just for that, one day of happiness, you've just lessened all the rest of the happiness you're gonna have for the next, like, what, at least 10 years to come. Maybe after 10 years or so, you'll kind of forget the fun you had that one day. It's not worth it. And and keep in mind, all that I just talked about is a best case example. A worst case example is you become hooked and you become addicted and you lose all your money and you end up getting a disease and you end up losing your soul. And I don't mean that in a religious way. I mean that in the sense that the person that you were before you did the drugs doesn't exist anymore, and you become some low-life piece of shit, fucking loses his family, loses his friends, and So best case scenario, does no harm to your body. You don't get addicted at all. You're still kind of fucked for life, in a sense. So don't even experiment, kids.